point is that over these few months that I have been involved in the exposés of Adani, I have met so many people, and I have been fortunate enough to meet some international players who have helped countries to repatriate money that has been stolen from the global south. And I am so hopeful that if we take the leadership of Kenya, we are going to repatriate the money that these people have stolen and have hidden in these tax havens in the Cayman Islands, in Abu Dhabi, in wherever, all these countries. I have seen people and I have seen for myself that it's possible to repatriate this money. We just need to get the right people in power, the people who can follow up these things, and we get the billions and trillions of money that have been hidden and that can help us to pay, to offset this odious debt, because that money was basically the debt. And this means that we will not have to pay tax to offset these debts. And my last point is what Jimmy Wanjigi said. So in France, in 2023, there was a test. It was so bad, the roads were closed. The people came with garbage and dumped garbage on the roads. It was a huge tax revolt, pension, and it was stopped. So what Jimmy is saying is actually true. The finance bill was a tax revolt, and we have seen the protest at the reason why the Adani deals were cancelled. The indictment in the USA was just a scapegoat. Is to go to the streets, to do a revolt, and to stop paying tax, as Jimmy has said in his submissions. So thank you so much, Amerix. Viva, we will overcome.
All right. There's that thing of just giving us a heads up on your case in
Oh
France
yeah,
and the one in Kenya.
yes. So today, my I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. I'm buying food. Okay, so my case in Kenya. Today was the pre-trial of the case, but it seems like Jayesh Saini and his legal counsel are trying to make it slow down because they didn't submit things they were supposed to submit. So the judge asked them to submit, and then we meet in January. So this is a sign that they think they will lose the case. The case in France is coming up in 6 days on the 17th of December, and it is going to be the final judgment. So 17th of December, we will know if the case will be in the favor of Jayesh or in my favor. In any way, if it's in Jayesh's favor, we have to appeal to go to a higher court. But I highly doubt it will be in his favor. So this is the update for the cases. And I want to give us, a special shout out to Willis, because he has been the one doing the everything, all the work for the Kenyan cases for free. I haven't paid a dime. And as I said, it was Jimmy who referred me to Willis for free. So I haven't paid any money. Also, it's good to make this clear right now that I have never received any money from Jimmy Wanjigi. I am not campaigning for him. People are accusing me of this, but the truth is, the things Jimmy Wanjigi says are very pertinent issues. We cannot turn a blind eye to this information and say, oh, we will not listen to this. Then we will not move and we will become cultic. We don't want to become cultic. We need to listen to all beneficial information coming from everyone. And this is how we will move forward. If someone has something beneficial or something that we think will help us to get Ruto out of power, we welcome this information, or this move. So thank you so much, Amerix. This is my submission. Over to
All
you.
right, thank you very much. Uh, uh, I think Jimmy was dropping, and there was some question from Kenya. Kenya, you wanted to ask a question. Just ask so that others can also speak. We have like 40 minutes to go.
Okay, sorry, I'm Eric, sir. Eric. What I
Mm.
wanted is there is something that what radicalized me. You get, this is a conversation I've had one on one with Jimmy, but I just wanted him. You know, when Jimmy is talking, he talks about so many things, and we can be lost in the details, and we can miss on the key points, especially on what went wrong. I wanted Jimmy to either reiterate on the part of how Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto, with the likes of Aden Duale and Kinabadi in 2013, how they were able to surgically open the constitution that we got in 2010, how they were able to surgically open it, which specific part of the constitution. And the reason I wanted him to just deliver this, it will just be a masterpiece for the young people. You get, for the young people that have had a chance to listen to him one on one, and also for the young people who would not understand how we got ourselves deliberately opened to be able to provide. I mean, when he was saying all this, is that most of the people, Americs, they might not understand. You have the privilege to understand that what might have really happened, you know, because of doing a research here and there. But I want my fellow young people to understand when Jimmy is saying this is what Buddy was able to do. This is what this other guy was able to do in order for all this stealing that has been happening. You get, I just want Jimmy to open other young people just on that part. I don't even want all the other stories that might have happened. I don't even so that we are able to find ourselves in whereby whatever Morara was exposing and all these projects zote. So I amply request if Jim Wajigo will be available just to explain on the parts of the constitution that were surgically opened specifically to facilitate for the stealing. Hii yenye kina Uhuru Kenyatta wenye walikuwa wanaiba and all this borrowing. That is all I wanted to request from Jim
Okay,
Wajigi. Eric, I
okay,
hope we
okay.
have that time.
If Yeah, if he's there, maybe he can give 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Yes. Mkenya, asante sana. That I gladly will answer, Eric. Now, Article 206 of the 2010 Constitution reads like this. There is established the consolidated fund into which shall be paid all money raised or received on or on behalf of the national government, except money that A is reasonably excluded from the fund by an act of parliament. This is the one I was saying, like the housing fund or the petroleum development fund, and payable into another public fund. That is the fund I'm talking about. Or B, may under an act of parliament be retained by a state organ, received it for the purpose of defraying the expenses of the state organ. This is called appropriations in aid. This is where state corporations make a profit and they may keep it. Now, that provision of Article 206 of the Constitution was embedded in the Public Finance Management Act. Remember, the Act is now operationalizing the Constitution. And as that was now put, right, in Article in the PFM. Article, the proceeds of the loan raised, no, this is not the one. It is Article 6. Right. of the Constitution, it reads A and B. Those are the exceptions under which money does not go to the consolidated fund. Now, that was specifically put in TFM as it is. Then, I just wanted to get the exact article that it was put in. I'll raise it to you shortly. Here we go. So I've read 206. Now, let me just read what happened. The original Public Finance Management Act said the following: the Cabinet Secretary shall ensure that the proceeds of any loan raised under the Act and any monies are paid into the consolidated fund and into any and no other public fund as established by the national government or entities that the Cabinet Secretary shall put. Now, what they did is specifically put it this way, that they took Article 206 and they embedded it and also added that loans are part of the consolidated fund, that it should be in the consolidated fund. Now, the amendment was brought by Duale in March 2014, and the amendment went like this, that they added what are called C and D to the Constitution 206A and B. And they added the following clauses in that amendment in 2014. C, disbursed directly. Now, this is the amendment. The Cabinet Secretary shall ensure that the proceeds of any loan raised under the Act are paid into the Constitution Fund or any other public fund established by the national government or any of its entities. The Cabinet shall determine in accordance with regulations approved by Parliament. That C, disbursed directly to the suppliers where the loan is a government-to-government loan and is raised for the purposes of financing goods and services provided by the supplier outside Kenya. D, in the case of an external loan or external government security, applied in part to pay in closing pre-negotiated expenses associated solely and exhaustively with the borrowing, including that not limited to fees, commissions, expenses, lenders, financial arrangers, managers, book runners, fiscal agents, trustees, paying agents, exchange and information agents, syndicated agents, counsel, clearing agents, listing agents, stock exchanges, rating agencies, and other expenses that are similar in nature arising from the external loan or external government security. So what happened is that Article 206 of the Constitution, which had A and B, suddenly became, in Public Finance Management Act, 4 articles instead of 2 as the Constitution. This was an amendment where they put C and D, and as you can read, it is money that can be disbursed directly to suppliers, and it all has to do with loans. It's money that can go to agents to do with loans, even rating agencies to do with loans. This is where they abrogated and, in fact, criminalized the Public Finance Management Act. They chose to do so through statute, a simple majority in the House. That has become the balloon that we are living through today. Is that clear, Nelson?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
It's clear?
Yeah.
Yes. So they amended the Constitution.
So what does that mean?
What happened?
What does that mean?
What happened?
Does that
Yes.
Does that mean that there are people who can walk into the consolidated fund and pay suppliers directly without being sanctioned by the control of budget or the parliament.
No, what happens is this. You see, Article 206 of our Constitution says there shall be one account called the consolidated account, and all revenue of government must enter it. A and B give the exceptions. Exception 1, that if you have a housing fund, you have a petroleum development fund, which we contribute to when we buy petrol. That is a fund that can be an individual account, right, at the central bank. And then B, if what is called appropriations in aid, right? If a ministry for some reason does something that makes some money, right, they can keep it to defray further expenses in their budget. That's appropriations in aid, right? Those are the two exceptions that you do not take any other money to consolidated fund. So consolidated fund receives in full and in part, in full, right? Loans, etc., etc., etc. That was mimicked in Section 57 of the Public Finance Management Act. All right? So it was taken and copy-pasted in Section 57 of the Public Finance Management Act of 2012. It was put as it is in Article 206, exactly that. The only exceptions are A, a fund created by Parliament, and B, appropriations in aid, if there is a profit. Now, in 2014 March, Duale, as majority leader, with John Bundy seconding an amendment to Article 57 of the Public Finance Management Act, added two clauses. After A, which says pay to consolidated fund, which was the way it was in Article 50, and B, to a public fund created by Parliament, they added C and D. C and D, right, has everything to do with loans. Disbursed directly to suppliers where the loan is a government-to-government loan and is raised for the purpose of financing goods and services provided by a supplier outside Kenya. D, in the case of an external loan or an external government security, applied in part to pay at closing, and I really want you to hear these details, pre-negotiated expenses associated solely and exhaustively with the borrowing, including but not limited to fees, commissions, expenses of lenders, financial arrangers, managers, book runners, fiscal agents, trustees, paying agents, exchange and information agents, syndicated agents, counsel, clearing systems, listing agents, stock exchanges, rating agencies, and other expenses of a similar nature arising from an external loan or external government security. So what they did was create a method under which money does not have to come to Kenya. It flies out everywhere else.
Shit.
So who has access to this? Yes, that's what happened. So the Auditor General can't audit that money. It's not in her mandate. It's not in the consolidated fund. The controller of budget, who approves every expenditure out of that budget, out of consolidated fund, is not there to approve anything because she doesn't cite it. She doesn't cite it. So they created a balloon. So for example, the Eurobond, this was just done before Eurobond to show you the heist. The Eurobond was 2 billion from JP Morgan Chase, right? 1 billion we traced. Government, on our insistence, at the time, Rotich gave us details when we queried. And that money, we saw a swift transfer, right? But what happened? In JP Morgan Chase, the Auditor General, the Accountant General, called Bernard Dungu, and his deputy opened an account, right, called the Sovereign Wealth Fund Kenya in JP Morgan Chase. So all the monies that were gotten from so-called emerging markets for the bond went to that account. The signatories were the two of them, all right? And they were dispersing from there. Instead of them dispersing instructions to central bank consolidated account, they were dispersing from New York. So they sent money to a syndicated loan, Barclays Bank, that Kibaki had taken, $650 million. They dispersed $350 million to the central bank exchequer account that we're talking about, consolidated fund. Then another 1 billion They could not show us where it went. They redacted the SWIFT, so we don't know. It was a heist. It never came to Kenya. In fact, we traced it to Qatar, where they opened another sovereign wealth account, Kenya. They opened accounts all over the world. And that's what's been going on here. So they decide with a phone call what you're to do with money that has been received as loans. I want it in my pocket, I want it in my stomach, I want it to sijui where. That's what has happened. And there's no accountability. The only time the controller of budget sees this, or the auditor general sees this, is at the point where we are paying those debts. And that's what we started querying with them. Why are you approving debts, payments, that you cannot see where they came in, what they went to? But you're approving from our taxes, from the consolidated account, payment of these debts. What is it for? And you have seen ever since we started raising this, they're coming out and saying, oh, we didn't know, oh, there's this discrepancy, oh, there's that discrepancy. Just the other day, the Auditor General came out and said they have discovered 55 billion shillings has gone out in paying arrangement fees for loans that have never been taken. 55 billion shillings in the 10 years that we're talking about. I have a figure of 180 billion shillings out to arrangement fees. Arrangement fees are like this. You can see there the provision was given. The arrangement fees are simply this. The arrangement fees are simply this. Money that if you are sourcing a loan, right, you must give us a 1%, 2% of the value of the loan, right? And that's what happened. That is exactly what happened. Now, I am prepared, Amarix, to come back on two issues. This, so we show you systematically the heist year on year, because we have got it documented year on year, graphically. And number two, how we can take action, right, to stop feeding this monster, the tax revolt.
Oh, thank you very much. I am so
Amerix, Eric,
yes. Please wind up so that others can speak.
Yeah, sure. There is something that I wanted Wajigi just to expound on, and this is he can do it on this space or even the next space that we can have, is how there is no accountability for account C and D. Well, I might have an understanding of this, but what do the young Kenyans? Because right now, I can comfortably tell you, we are on our own, Americs. You can attribute to that. It's the effort of you and every other person who is conscious in Kenya, who understands that we are in trenches, that is pulling for this. The aspect of why there is no accountability for C and D, and the aspect of why all this stealing is happening. I wish Wajigi could just put it in the layman's language. I know it gets too much into the details, but it's all
I'll
okay.
be very simple. Our constitution said we have one account in this country, not 10, not two, one account. All monies go there, and it gave the exception. If you create a housing fund out of parliament, it can go there and you monitor it. So it gave exceptions, only exceptions, A and B. And why they did that is so that you can manage from one account various things. For example, that is what anchors the budget. So every time you are going to remove money from the taxes that are collected in that account, the controller of budget has to approve it depending on a vote head of parliament. That means parliament has approved an expenditure for salaries for Ministry of Transport. There is a vote head. It's given a number, so you remove it. Parliament has approved in the budget the expenditure for a road, right? Recarpeting of a particular road or a borehole somewhere, it has a vote head. So there's a proper accountability. Even loans, when they enter that account, it is for this purpose. So the controller of budget approves its expenditure, and the auditor general comes and audits whether that has been done according to the law. These guys decided that that constitution does not work for them because of all those controls. And they decided they are going to operate outside of it, because the intention was to take money that is not going to the budget, to take money that is not for you and I, and Wanjiku and Mura. It is for themselves. So they created a balloon where our taxes, right, are paying for loans that never came to us, that they ate, that they swallowed, and it's to the tune of $50 billion. This is what they are protecting up until today. This is the mess that is taking 70% of all the taxes that we are paying to the government. This is why we have a problem. And unless we're able to cut off that illegal debt, which was illegal to us, unless we're able to cut off that illegal debt, I can assure you it is misery for the next 60 years. We have to cut it off now. We cut it off now, we are free. And just to give you an example, this year, we are paying 1.9 trillion to that debt, which was a heist, a major heist by world standards. Now, that 1.9 trillion, you imagine that to fund primary school in entirety, to fund high school in entirety, giving a student 20,000 shillings, nobody has to pay from their pocket, and to give a university student 100,000, as the numbers are today, right? 100,000, okay? Taking an average that a university student is 300,000, all right, that they need to pay per year. One, they can take a loan, one their parent pays, the other is given as a grant. I cannot tell you that that cost is only 145 billion shillings a year. And nobody will be lining up for any bursary, right? This is what is being denied of us. 145, we are paying 1.9 to theft. There's no other malfeasance. It's not a bloated government or bloated counties or this or that, right? Or theft of a little furniture here and there or somebody doing this. That is nothing. 1.9, when you see debt payments, it is all a heist. Of that 1.9, 1.1 trillion is interest. There's no bigger expenditure from our taxes. Next year, it's going to be 2.1 trillion. Unless we cut that snake, we are in trouble here. And the only way we can force them is by not contributing to it, is by saying we are not going to pay any more tax and we are going to revolt. And they come to a grinding halt because then they are forced to look at that thing and we will force them to do it. And I can tell you, once we do that, this is over. All of them are done. They all exit our lives and we'll have a life of greatness that we can look forward to. But we have to cut off this snake. And it has very many players. It has international players, big players that have been doing this all over the world, big players that are doing it in other African countries. Zambia has been part of this. Mozambique, part of this. Malaysia, part of it. It's big players supported by big governments. But we have to cut off the snake ourselves. We have slave masters here as leaders. They have made sure that we have become slaves to all these entities that are reaping our sweat. This is where we say no more. And this is what it's about. No other issue. We sort this out, we free Kenyans.
Thank you very much. Let me allow you to rest.
Thank you.
In our next space, you'll come with specifics.
Yes. Yes.
Francis.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
Francis. Thank you very much, Jimmy. Francis. You've been in my DM saying there's something you want to say.
Give me a second. I put my earpiece. Sorry, I was charging my phone. Great. I hope I'm audible. Thank you. Those are good submissions from Jimmy and all of us. We are ending up in one consensus that the streets is the only solution. Can you imagine? These pieces of shit have their own personal bank account where they are collecting our taxes. They are collecting loans in the name of the country, and then they are appropriating it. And so we are wondering, why don't we have money in the economy? Why don't we have any cash flow? Why are all these banks going crazy? Because Kenya has moved, the ownership of Kenya has moved from the Imperial British company to now Uhuru and Ruto and JP Morgan, and which is funny because JP Morgan CEO was in the country like 1 month ago. I saw him taking selfies with Ruto, and I saw him trying to solicit for a job in the Trump administration, and Trump politely declined to appoint him as a finance secretary. So it means that even internationally, the people and the anchors who had helped Ruto, the people who had maintained and preserved his presidency, the people who encouraged him to kill young children. Meg Whitman is out. People are saying that, government propagandists, I would see them saying, it's not bloggers who got Meg Whitman out. Which other US ambassador has resigned other than Meg Whitman and the one for South Africa? None other. So there I saw the charged affairs. He has not even settled in office. The first person he's going to see is Uhuru, the same person we are talking about who has embezzled 7 trillion of our money in the name of debt. Over $50 billion as has been elaborated right now. So we are ending up, and I've put flyers, please. Check those flyers on my Twitter handle. We are talking about Jamhuri Day. We are hitting the streets wherever you are, even those who are in Outer Ring, Feather, Pipeline. The people in Pipeline, I really don't understand what ails you, people who live in Pipeline. You live in some of the most shittiest conditions, the shittiest conditions in Nairobi. The people of Pipeline live there. But you seem so happy. You seem so content with having mud and sewage just flowing outside your house. I need to understand how you reason. Because there was this time when the bodies were retrieved from Kware. And so people from Pipeline accompanied the body to City Mortuary. All you just needed to do was not go back now to your shithole regions, was now to go to State House and get rid of Ruto. That's all you needed to do, and your lives would have changed forever. So when we call for protests, we don't understand why these people do not come out. Are you so comfortable in your oppression? Do you love bad governance that much? Do you love the fact that you're hanging your clothes for everyone who is driving on the Outer Ring Road to see? Are those the conditions? Are those the ideal conditions that you want to live by? So, and there are these other people called farmers. Every day we are seeing farmers in the UK, in France, when they are protesting, they go and pour shit in the government buildings, in parliament, So we are wondering why Kenyan farmers, every day your right to grow, your right to sustenance is being encroached on, is being infringed on by law after law, which are being drafted by people outside our country. So why are you so comfortable in that state? Why are you so comfortable in oppression? Why don't you ever join us when we are saying we are protesting? Because everyone who is protesting, even the first wave of the Gen Z protests, those were, you saw Kimani Ichung'wah was trying to play a divisive card, and we've discussed this with Americ severally, how they use the class war, where now Kimani Ichung'wah was saying, the kids are coming in their iPhones, they are going to KFC and what. It was all to deter the other people from joining in. So if kids living in Runda, living in Muthaiga could go and protest, why the fuck would you, who is living in squalor, in Pipeline, why don't you join? I really don't understand. Even the people who are paid, the Mungikis who are paid to come and loot the supermarkets, to come and kill the others, to come and disrupt the momentum. And you still go back to Mukuru kwa Jenga. You still go back to Mukuru kwa Ruben. What ails you? Can't you see this is a moment where we all have to unite? Like yesterday, I was seeing when Kasmuel Makaure tried to join the femicide. It was a femicide protest. Obviously, the female protesters would want all support from all genders, from everyone. But for this particular charlatan called Kasmuel Makaure, they said no. If we are going to achieve our female rights, we'd rather achieve them without Kasmuel Makaure. So that unity of purpose. If people from these high-end estates can be on the streets, and you, in your infinite stupidity, the thing you're only thinking of is how I'm going to go and steal this supermarket, how I'm going to go and do this, how I'm going to go and pickpocket someone. What ails you? Are you so comfortable in your oppression? Do you love poverty? The reason why we do what we do is because we have traveled outside the country. We have been to places where systems work, where taxes are literally put to good use. Now you're telling me that a charlatan like Sakaja Johnson has not put in a penny, to development. You're telling me that Aden Duale and John Buddy, you can see John Buddy's appointment as a financier was done in 2013, 2014, when they were conceiving this whole idea of hijacking money from our consolidated fund into a private to a private entity. So why do we are living in peace? We are coexisting with Aden Duale. Aden Duale, we should be banning his house. We should be getting details of his phone number, his cars, everything, because we are now desperate. We want everything now. We want the cousins, we want the aunties, we want any business that he owns. Same as John Buddy. He's been very arrogant together with Opio and I. They are trying to divide us by tribe. It's not working because the young people have said we are not boarding this time round. So again, when you get another opportunity to hit the streets, there were these stupid kids who went to eat pilau in parliament. You've been given a God-given opportunity to alter the course of history for this country, for Pete's sake. And then you're just thinking of eating pilau? Are you fucked in the head? I go crazy when I remember such things. You're just there taking selfies in the streets. You have to be intentional this time round. You're hearing the figures. Numbers don't lie. You're hearing the numbers. You're hearing what these guys are doing, an economic genocide. And they are so brazen. They are so bold. They are even insulting our intelligence that they are saying they are going to do a handshake for our unity. Do you think they give a shit about you? They only care about their children and their grandchildren. So when you're given another opportunity or an opportunity presents itself, you should rise to the occasion. You should not go eat pilau in parliament. You should not go there just to moonlight. You're supposed, it's there to finish Kumalo. And then you finish parliament, boom, 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 state house. It's a wrap. We would have finished from June 26th. We would be living our best lives. You went home. You were convinced by that idiot called Boniface Mwangi. He went with his motorbikes there. He told you, go home, for your safety. If you stay in Nairobi, you're going to be killed and whatnot. You went to your estates. You went to Githurai. You went to Rongai. The police still came there. They picked you up. They went, murdered you, dismembered the bodies, threw them in Kware and God knows where else. So was going home securing a guarantee of your safety? No. You were safer staying in Nairobi, huddling in numbers, keeping yourself safe from the hoodlums who had been sent by the government, paid to come and disrupt the momentum or disrupt the protest, and then you wake up and go for breakfast at State House. It was that simple. Ruto had already the helicopters. We were monitoring them on the trackers. They were already shipping money. They had put money in those metallic boxes like the ones we used to go with for high school. They had stashed money there, and there was 3 helicopters which were leaving from there to Moi Air Base because that's where he wanted to ship the family to whatever country he was running away from. We were there. But you guys, what did you do? You are taking selfies, eating pilau in parliament. You are given a chance to resolve Kenya's issues once and for all. Now, what the commitment I want from you people, the commitment I want is where if tomorrow we are saying we are going to protest, you go out where you don't need to do anything, sit on the road. If it's Thika Road, if it's Rongai, sit on the road. You don't have to come to Nairobi. We know these police are overstretched. They are underfunded. We know them. We know their weaknesses. There was this time we did Occupy JKIA, and all of them went to JKIA, and then all of a sudden CBD was full. So don't be scared by these police. They are paid with our taxes. Today I saw the policeman who shot Rex Kanyeki. He's called Isaiah Murangeri. He was there in court. He was freaked out. He's denying, I was not there. You see, these are humans. When you put them in a position, they cannot even defend their depravity and mental impotence. They cannot. He cannot even say, if he was such a man, he was so bold those days, if he was such a man, he would have said, yes, I killed him. Yes, I was there. But he was lying. He was literally lying, and there's cameras. He was saying, no, I was guarding KICC. I was what? These guys are weak. Do not fall for the scaremongering from idiots on Twitter every day telling you cannot do it. We have achieved beyond our wildest expectations. We ended tribalism. Can you imagine? Previously, it used to be, these people. The only people who are trying to tune us is ODM propagandists. You have idiots like Gabriel Oguda. You have Opio Wandai. You have Kaluma. If you look at them, they are idiots trying to spew their ethnic narrative, but it's not working because we have crossed, we have evolved politically. This is evolution, and it has happened so fast because of civic education. You understand? So when the opportunity presents itself again, please, your work is not to go eat pilau in parliament because wao walikula pilau, hawakusikia njaa tena. They are probably more hungry. They are probably dead right now because Safaricom was giving the allocations. I think you also, what Safaricom does, once you put your SIM card, you have to be very careful. If you are the team, if you are the knights that are going to finish the job, you have to make sure you don't have your Safaricom SIM card in place. If you are the knights who have been chosen by God to complete this task, to liberate the country, you are this close and then you went to eat pilau. How stupid are you? Yeah, well, do your parents know how stupid you are? Do they know that you had a God-given opportunity, and then you're there going to take a selfie in the parliament saying, Mr. Speaker, sir? So sasa juu ulisema Mr. Speaker, sir, ugali kwako imeongezeka. Are you eating 2 ugalis instead of 1 tonight? No. You have to understand that this is serious business. When you're talking about getting rid of a regime, it's not a joke. These guys are crazy. They are ready to, they don't want to constitute IBC because they want to loot elections. They are going crazy. They are going nuts. You're seeing Ruto, as you've heard right now. He cannot even compose himself in a meeting because we are disorienting him. We are disrupting him. Anything he's planning, he's encountering roadblocks and speed bumps. And every day we are reminding him that Kenya, the people remain sovereign, and you are our employee. You don't have any right to talk shit to us. So tomorrow and the days that will precede, because revolutions are not overnight. The one that we could have done was June 25th, but you idiots opted to go and take selfies and eat pilau. But we have forgiven you because of your inherent stupidity. Now we need commitment that this time round you are going to finish the job. You are going to show up. You are going to turn up. You are going to come through. This is it. We only have one chance at saving this country. And this is it. This moment, don't squander it. Don't waste it. Don't listen to propagandists. If Ruto was so confident that he's the president, if he was so confident, he wouldn't be dispatching these idiots or somehow terror every day to come and say, revolution, haiwezi fanyika tena. They are there. Even in your comment section, you'll go there and they are there saying, revolution, haiwezi fanyika. They brought a clown. They foisted a clown there called Morara Kebaso. Morara Kebaso, if you listen to his tone, is very choreographed. Somebody has trained him to speak so calmly. Even when he's criticizing so calmly because he's serving a purpose. He's serving a purpose. You see, now I've changed my tone. You can listen. You can hear that your anger is dropping, is reducing. But me now, I'm coming to tell you, tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, until the end of the year, when we are projecting that Ruto should have gone, I did a poll and it's pinned on my account. And 38% of the people said that Ruto should leave before, and they were the majority. Ruto should leave before the end of 2024. So if the people have decided, whomst is he to think that seat is his birthright? It's not. It's our seat. We have given them in trust, even the MPs, even the senators. But then what do? They go and collect money behind our backs so as to sell our right, to sell our sovereignty. They mortgage it to the highest bidder, and sometimes even they are paid 20,000 in the urinals. And they think that it's going to be business as usual. You as members of parliament, you have mortgaged us. We are seeing what is happening in South Korea. The members of parliament stood when the president declared a martial law. The MP said, go fuck yourself. They told the president of South Korea that we have a bunch of pussies in parliament who cannot even raise up, even to dispute something. When Ruto went there, after the FBI had already admitted that or released their indictment that Adani is a crook who has been bribing government officials, Ruto went to parliament the next day. And then he said, oh, I've cancelled the Adani deals. In their infinite stupidity, they gave him a standing ovation. For what? Was it the FBI? The FBI had done the groundwork. Amenya had done the groundwork. They didn't do any. And then they still clapped for him because these are a bunch of retards. Now, the people who are in parliament, you had already gotten these people in the tunnel. You had only one job. You only had one job. What did you do? You went to eat pilau. Useless bastards, man. America sometimes, you think I'm going crazy, you think I'm going bonkers, but you can see the caliber of young people. Can you imagine if the Mau Mau were so stupid? If they did not work with unity of purpose, if they were not intentional, they could not have achieved their objective. We could not be celebrating the freedom, the fruits of independence as we are doing today. So tomorrow and the days that will proceed afterwards, please move with intention, move with purpose. Avoid all the people who are telling you it's impossible. We have achieved so much. Nobody should dim your light.
What
Nobody
is your
should
comment?
steal
What
your
is your
thunder.
comment on Raila's AUC bid?
Raila is, for me, I call him the aging orangutan and senile old bastard. He has outlived his usefulness. He's a spent cartridge. That trip is a waste of money. And anyone who has approved the budgets using our taxes to campaign for that useless bastard, to campaign for that sellout, somebody who has been selling us out since the Moi era, every regime, he has to strike his own deals. So if there is anyone, whether you're in treasury, whether you are where, I swear wallahi bilahi, wewe utafungwa, watoto wako hawatawahi kuona. I swear to one God.
Right. To finish Kumalo. Thank you.
To finish Kumalo, we are dealing with Aden Duale, we are dealing with John Buddy, those two who allowed Uhuru and Ruto to loot our money, to put it in a private bank account in New York. Those two, Aden Duale, the day when you see the government has fallen, please take the first flight out of Kenya. Wallahi, take the first flight. Start booking now. Start booking for your family. Fanyeni hivyo haraka upesi.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Francis.
Amerix.
Let's give a woman a chance. There's so many men have spoken. Sheila.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Nasikika poa? Okay. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Sheila Nyangara, a very, very, very passionate Kenyan like all of us. Now, mimi nimejam. I actually believe we cannot have a country, we cannot run Kenya with Ruto at the top. Kasongo must go. Now, I had organized 2 points, lakini points in Ashina's kuja kwa kichwa. Now, number one, there's nothing to celebrate about this Jamhuri. First of all, our independence, our democracy as Kenyans has been threatened. Our sovereignty as the people of the Republic of Kenya has been threatened through political and economic injustice. First of all, I want us to go back to know that Ruto does not have any good intentions for our pockets. And as we all know, bei ikipanda mahali, if anything goes up somewhere in any circle of our economy, it trickles down to you up. It will end up kwa mfuko yako, and it will be either through your business in any way. Now, number one, let's go back to the road maintenance levy. I was actually one of the people that was lobbying for it. I actually even went for the EO public participation, and it was to increase. And Murkomen at that point, who was the Minister for Transport at that point, alisema they will look for ways to cushion the Kenyan before they increase. 1 week didn't even lapse. The president said, kwanza alikuwa amesimama, I don't know where, in some place, and said there's nothing that's going to happen, and the fuel levy right now ilipanda. Now, one question, yes, the fuel has been reducing, but me, I've been asking myself, during Corona, when the fuel prices were going down and ours were increasing and increasing, was this in plan that wait, before I'm really, have you ever had anger? I can actually feel that anger through Guy. Now, me, I'm even shaking, because you wonder, what kind of people did we choose? Now, going back to this, if I'm in business, I'm in the fuel business. Just an example of, I'm not in fuel business, but I'm giving a layman understanding of business. Now, I'm in the fuel business. I have, when I'm buying the fuel, I have to pay that fund from the pump, right? When let's say Eric buys fuel from me, that fund, I have to remit it to the government. Now, you're telling me if that fund is increased, it does not affect my business. see, definitely it will affect my business, because that means I'm increasing my output. So how then can the government tell us that we are still cushioned? I'm looking at the future where fuel is going to increase, and it's going to increase rapidly at some point. So for me to go back to the honesty, or to our politicians having our interest at heart, they do not have our interest at heart. Because if you look at the decisions they are making right now and the promises they are making, they are not sustainable. If they are saying they are really worried about us, have you heard of the street lighting bill that was tabled on 4th December by the National Assembly on Energy? You will be paying taxes on, as you're paying for electricity for your house, you will that fee will be included. So you'll be paying for street lights. I think you need to check that out. We need to be shouting about it, because already electricity costs are high. You can just check the street lighting bill. The National Assembly on Energy has already instructed EPRA to implement that. I do not know where the public participation came from. And another question I always ask myself: before these policies are made up, are they supposed to ask us what the problem is, so that these policies are made to address those issues that we are facing? For example, this whatever, how do they call it, this horticultural bill that is ongoing, that has there been any, okay, my voice is shaking, has there been any public participation before the policy was made, asking
Mm.
farmers of
Yes.
or industry players in flowers,
Mm.
and asking them, what are the challenges that you're facing? What is in
Yes.
the current policy structure that we can change, or that we can improve to make business more profitable for you? What can we
Yes.
do to make this business sustainable? There's nothing like that they have done.
Okay.
Nothing completely. And I feel like even this IEBC, some things, sometimes you think about things and you're like, okay, what is the ideology behind that? Because I feel like as Kenyans, we have passed the civic education. We know what our rights are. We know the institutions we are supposed to go to get things done. But now we need to understand what is the thought behind every step they are making, so that we can also think at par with them, or even think ahead. Now, when Jimmy Wanjigi came up with the tax revolt, I think that is something we should take up and go down to understand, how is it affecting us? How can we um, maximize this to make the government
Mm.
understand? Because the government is a group; these are individuals, and actually, I stand to correct someone who said when the space started at there are 1,300. There are not 1,300 people. There are many people. There are people in organizations that are facilitating. For example, let's start with Nairobi County. When when Ruto wants something, or when someone in his circle wants something done, they're definitely going to use Sakaja. Now, when they come to Sakaja, Sakaja has people either in the cash office, in the inspectorate, in different offices. So when we are looking at, when we want something changed, it has to come from up. Someone has to whip, because Ruto is intertwined in everything, and that is someone who cannot lead with integrity. He cannot lead with the pure intentions of the king. Though there is
Thank
no one in the government right now that has the interest of the people at heart. If we pick
thank you.
one person, how is it that no, I've not had any member of parliament. I have not seen on Twitter. I have not seen on YouTube. No one is talking about the streetlight bill. No one is looking. No one is saying, okay, Kenyans are already overtaxed. Kenyans are already paying too much. Yet we are not seeing any services. No one is coming out to say, to tell Kenyans what the impact of this is. No one is going to tell us how this is going to be implemented. Already, steam money expensive. Um, when I'm going to give an example of how the economy affects us. We were having a chat with a friend of mine, and we were talking about butchery moja enye anapenda kuenda. Now that butchery is close to a group of universities. So the university students are the main clients of this person. So this person goes and buy, and he gets a lot of money from the small amounts of nyama that the kids are buying. Now you find these children are no longer buying meat. If they were buying meat maybe every day or 3 times a week, they are no longer buying. Maybe it's once in 2 weeks, because the parents can no longer afford to give them that money to buy what? To buy um
Okay, wind
to
up.
buy that to
Wind
buy
up.
that nyama, and you're finding it's
Mm.
affecting his business. So it comes from the top. If you are working for the government, your pay slip is already small, and your housing levy man. First of all, you didn't even understand the housing levy. I'm a real estate financial consultant by profession, and I still never got to understand. And I went for the public participation at Utali House. They never explained to us how this is going to benefit, and how it's going to cushion and provide solution to the common mananchi who's having inadequate and dignified housing. They never
Okay.
need that. And then now we have the shift share, which is not working, but you're still being deducted. Okay, now
Okay.
that's more. By the
Okay.
time you're coming with your payslip, let's say you're a civil servant, you no longer have disposable income to maybe give your child enough pocket money that you're giving them, which means your child is no longer going to enjoy the amenities they were enjoying while they were going there. If maybe they were going to eat ice cream at some place after
Okay.
lunch every day, they will reduce the number of times they are going to have ice cream there. So that means this person is no longer getting the cash flow that they were getting before. So I don't
All
understand
right.
how they are thinking, and how we need to be angry. We need to reject any form of oppression. And oppression can come in all ways. You can be oppressed politically, you can be oppressed economically, you can be
All
oppressed
right.
health-wise, you can be
Wind up.
oppressed food-wise. So I feel
Mm.
like we need to be more angry, and also we need to
Okay.
remember where we come from. We need to it's very important that we are we need to nimesahau hata your word vile how to bring it out. I apologize, but we need to congratulate ourselves. Tunafaa tujione tumetoka mbali and use that to
Hello.
Eric,
Okay. Okay. She has dropped. Sawa sawa. I think we can give everyone a mic to speak. Edgar and I can't see Cyprian. The lady who was
Amerix,
talking
you
has
can hear me?
disappeared. Hello, Edgar.
Yes, Amerix, can you hear me?
Uh, yeah, yeah. Go on, go on. Can you distribute? And where did Sonko disappear to?
Okay.
He did not attend this space today, and he had something he wanted to say. He was arrested the other day, so he has to look for us. Anyway, go on, Edgar.
Okay, thank you so much, Amerix. I've given Kotsonko the mic. So I'm going to move to the next speaker, Lydia. Hi, how are you? What do you have to say? Lydia, are you there?
Give it to Tony.
Okay,
I can see Tony has been waiting for quite some time.
okay. Okay, Tony.
Mm. There's Tony, there's
Yes,
CP1.
thank you, thank you. Thank you, Edgar and Eric and everyone for hosting this space. My name is Tony Wakaromo. I'm a passionate advocacy journalist based in Kiambu. And every time you go around the country interacting with everyone, all people, all ages, anger is filling the air. I will come back to that later on. But for now, I would like to motivate people when you wanna feel like this liberation sio yao, like they have no part to take in kwa hii maneno. When we are calling for protests na mambo kama hiyo, they feel like they are not belonging inside it. They feel like they are not identifying with it. There are two weapons that are being used right now by the government against the Kenyans. One, guns, bunduki na polisi na kuwashtua watu wa feel like they cannot win. The other weapon, which is the strongest but the most secret, is ourselves. At the end of the day, they feel like we will self-destruct, we will second-guess ourselves. Like we went out in the parliament, but we second-guessed ourselves, twende state house ama tusiende. People are feeling like, are we doing the right thing? Are we not doing the right thing? Yet, here we are. I want to motivate everyone and tell them that whatever status quo you are feeling like wewe unastahili ukae kwa comfort zone yenye una feel hapa ni pazuri juu si ninapata kamshahara ama ninaendelea na maisha yangu, wacha wao watu wengine waende waandamane huko. That will be no more in coming days. And maybe you are the strength that is being needed right now to change this country.
That is a fallacy, thinking that you will stay in your own cocoon, watu wabadilishe nchi pande hiyo, and you still come back there to enjoy. We need all of us to have unity of purpose, all of us to come out when we say we are coming out. Right now, I was listening to Nelson Amenya talking about Adani deal and the doubts they had if it will be cancelled or not. But remember, when things are juxtaposed the right way, mambo ikipangana vile inafaa, anything can happen. Na mambo ilipangana kwa Adani, FBI responded there, the government pande hii, nyinyi naye kwa Twitter na everywhere you are pushing, ile mambo ikapangana vizuri and Adani went down. On 25th June, mambo ilipangana vile inafaa, and that's why we were able to do what we did. And right now we have another chance. Even the cows are on our side. Mpaka ng'ombe saa hii ziko side yetu. Mambo imepangana vile inafaa. Kama sio vaccination ni SHA. Kama sio SHA ni affordable housing. Kama si affordable housing, even if you are petty, umeitwa stupid. Mambo imepangana vile ambavyo inafaa. So I'm asking, what are we waiting for? This space we are holding here, Eric, I wish the next space that we hold itakuwa held wakati tusha liberate this country. Tusihold space ingine tena, we are still contemplating vile tutafanya na nini na nini. I wish tunaweza hold, if wishes were horses, tunge hold this space wakati tumesha liberate this country. The last thing, because I want to be brief and other people to speak, I cannot believe that you guys have been giving a voice to the sellout while sisi tuko pande hii, tuko kule Siberia, and you are not following us. We need voices to keep this movement going. So just click my profile picture and follow. Thank you.
Edgar, Edgar, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Proceed.
Okay. Thank you for the space. Thank you for the other speakers that have spoken. I got lost when it started, but I'll be quick. For me, I will speak about my sector, which is the construction side. As a construction manager, things are really bad because there is no money flowing from our end. And this is majorly due to the huge pending bills that we have, and it is something that they are not actually keen on solving. On solving. Hakuna pesa kabisa. That trickling down from a manufacturer being paid all the way to a supplier, all the way to the fundi on site, it's a problem. And now even for the clients themselves, they even shifting their priorities. It's better to use maybe your savings that you had set aside for building. You put it maybe for family stuff, kulipa fee and all that. Even now, if you see the farm that are so busy in building, it's either they're having international business or maybe these NGOs and stuff. Feasibility studies are not being approved by the banks. In the financial side, banks are keen to transact with the government. Now, the only way forward, if you have like these big commercials and apartments, is you have a development partner. Maybe you donate your land or part of the financing, etc., etc. Now, and also in addition to the pending bills, the issue that we have also faced is the affordable housing program. There was that I was reading a report recently. Their overambitious plan of 250,000 units is now even they have not even done in terms of completion. About 1,200 complete, 91,000 under construction, and from one end, this is the demand side has been pulled from the private sector and taken to the government side. It has been made like to be a competition. There is no sort of sector-wide intervention. On one end, we can also say if the program was not there, hakungekuwa na cash flows at all. Development control, you have seen what Sakaja said, and even today, what these developers usually do, unajua zoning ya let's say Lavington allows for instance 6 floors. Zoning ya South Sea for instance allows 4 floors. What these guys do when they go to approve, they lie on the title deed details where you just fill wachana na document itself. Wanasema wana develop South Sea mahali kwa 4 floors, lakini wanasema wanasema title deed ni imetoka Lavington ndio ende 6. Now the day of commissioning and issuing a occupation certificate wanakuja kusema we made an error, and that's why I have a problem with that Sakajas guy who goes to burn clubs and the like, akisema anataka kusolve issue ya development control. It begins from them giving them those shoddy approvals. Now, finally, on the private sector side, I will say there are too many cartels in material supply. Today, I was even trying to check out as a particular cement brand that I see that they have cloned another brand. It is Simba Cement. There's another entity that is manufacturing the cement, manufacturing or maybe reselling or whichever. And it's also the instance, I think most of you saw some bags are not hitting the 50 kg and the like. The same is happening for steel, the same is happening for timber, etc. And you kind of wonder how these people are surviving without getting caught, without prosecution and stuff. Taxation of imports is way bad. You know, the government is saying that it is it is taxing imports to promote the local sector, but there is no capacity building for the local man. And the other thing is clients import, especially from this side, they tend to import finishes because of preferences in terms of the variety aspect. Tiles from Uganda, tiles from Tanzania are actually cheaper than those from here, even some of the fittings. That's how the math is not balancing at all. Then finally, on the PPP aspect, with what happened in JKIA, I also tried my bit on this app and also on LinkedIn. And what I came to know now, Kenyans have no trust for PPPs at all, and they are not actually bad, but due to the conduct of the government, how they handle the matter, is the same case I was reading this morning about Brazil, because they've also lost confidence in PPPs because they had a case of issues of legal recourse. It's the same case that about the street lighting. That is something we can finance on our own, because you see, even the maintenance aspect, getting money is from street light. You just use adverts or you use something we call IAS. Maybe
Yes.
you talk with Safaricom. Okay, you talk with Safaricom or Telecom to place routers and you get money from that. So going forward, I think this revolution needs to be more energetic. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to bring in Keoti Sonko. Hi, sir. You are arrested. What happened? Kindly keep it at 2 minutes.
Okay. Before you talk of what really happened in Kwale County, I think, guys, we need to ask ourselves, how did we reach here? Of course, we have been idolizing these thieves, murderers. We have been idolizing these people every now and then, because saizi ukiuliza mtu we need to go to the ballot, atakuuliza now who is going to take Ruto down, who is going to take Ruto down, if not Raila, if not Kalonzo Musyoka, if not sijui nani. And remember, all these guys, they are all political cousins. These guys are thieves, they are murderers. You know what has been happening. So if today we have that mentality of going to ballot, sijui ni 2027 ama nini, and guys, you know that on the ballot these guys have been stealing every now and then. They have been stealing the votes. So how are we going to compete with a thief in the game that he's best at? Yeah. So guys, honestly, I don't think that we need to look even beyond tomorrow. If we are here, and I do agree with Francis Gaito, that we need to act swiftly. Twende kwa ground bana. We know where these people are. Ama nyinyi hamjui kesho watu wako Lang'ata. You guys don't know mahali kuna hizi ofisi zao. Why can't we go to those offices, storm them? Tutoa watu mbio bana. Every now and then we are talking sijui nini, and then they are bringing us puppets every now and then. Somebody who doesn't even have qualifications for university degree anakuja hapa anakuambia anataka kuvai for sijui president. You are vying for presidents, you are expelled from a university. How are you going to lead people when you are expelled from a university? You really badly misbehaved from the university. So guys, mimi hizi vitu za sijui tuende wapi sijui let us register for votes. Of course registering for votes ni kitu mzuri sana, and you have been doing civic education from county to counties, asking our people to register for vote, watafute IDs. But honestly, if you are going to have this mentality ya kwenda kwa sijui ballot, these guys they are going to steal from us, na bado utarudi hapa tuanze kulia. So what we need to do, wewe chukua silaha uko nayo, hata kama ni simu sijui ni maji ama nini, let us go chase these people. Kesho si wanakaa hapo mahali fulani pale Lang'ata, they are going there. They are less than 3,000. We are more than 50 million. What will stop us from marching to such a place to ambie enough is enough? So guys, honestly, these guys are regrouping. Juzi mumeona mwingine sijui ameenda wapi kutafuta sijui kamwana wapi huko chini. Akishamalizana kamwana wataanza kutafuta watu wengine. Hao kina Joho wanaiya hapa every now and then. Juzi nimeenda kwao huko Mombasa, they don't have good roads. They are having poor drainage system hapo, but they are here yapping every now and then. Joho before aanze kuwa mbaya alianza kutuambia sijui hakuna mtu mfisadi mbaradhuli kama Ruto, but today he's singing Ruto every now and then. Mtu kama Raila anakuambia sijui Ruto must go. Raila ndiye alianza hii upuzi by the way. Saizi yako wapi? Anakimbia tuko na kitambi. Guys, mimi sijui nitawaambia aje, but honestly what we need to do, tutoe hii mentality ya we want to meet Ruto sijui kwa ballot ama nini. This guy is a thief and he will still steal. Kwani si alibia huyu mzee analialia kila siku sijui ni mzee wa kitendawili ama nini? What like nini itamfanya ache kutuibia hadi sisi? So what we need to do, tutoke hapa hivi twende tufukuzao jamaa hapo hivyo. And these guys honestly they are saying they are creating jobs sijui wapi. Angalia kwa hizi ministries, watu kuko ni watoto wao. Mtu kama Wetangula mtoto wake akaapa hivi hapa railways, anafanya kazi mzuri hapo. But now they want to take our young ladies and men outside the country, waende huko sijui United Arab Emirates. They're going there to be harmed by non-human beings. Alafu tukapa tunacheka tu like every night inakuanga tu discussion. The good thing hata nashukuru mtu kama Gaitho anakuanga hapa anatuambia what is happening. But now tuache kuanza kuongea, twende kwa street bana. At times unaenda street unajipata uko peke yako, but ukikuja hapa space tumejaa uia sijui tunaongea tunaweza ongea hapa hata 24 hours, but we are doing nothing about that. We are not doing actions kwa vitu tunafanya. So guys, even as much as tutaongea sijui nini, let us do this, let us do that, sijui nani to inject tufanye nini, but honestly what we need to do ni twende street tufukuza watu. What happened to me in Kilifi County, nilikuwa na expose hizo upuzi zao. Unaenda huko unapata the national government allocate 3.9 billion with an additional 9 billion from the World Bank to construct at least 2 classrooms for every primary school to enable junior secondary school JSS wapate mahali pa kusoma. But you are going to a county like Kilifi, unapata hakuna shule hata moja imeconstructiwa classes zenye walikuwa wanasema wataziconstruct, na pesa ziliallocatiwa some 2 years ago some 1 year ago 2023. And so when I was exposing those projects hapo hivyo, that's when those guys wakaanza kunimonitor. Siku hizi nakuanga nimevaa gunia yangu hapo moja, najua niko nazo kadhaa but umezoea inakuanga moja zinafanana, so wakakuja wakanichukua wakanipeleka huko those guys. And so honestly hii government tuna deal nayo, we are dealing with the crooks, we are dealing with the murderers, we are dealing with the thieves, and hata mkiongea hapa hawashtuki. So what we need to do guys, let us go to the ground tufukuze hao watu. That's what I have to share with you guys. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Edgar, I don't know if you can hear me. So I think we can have the next speaker. Abdi, maybe you can proceed as we try and get someone else on the panel.
Thank you. Am I audible, Eric and Cyprian and
Yes,
Edgar?
sure.
Okay, I'll just be brief. And I think I agree with the submission of all the speakers. I can see the range and the anger. Having said that, I think this Jamhuri Day, many Kenyans feel there is little to celebrate, I think. Independence was meant to bring freedom, equality, and prosperity. Yet, decades later, we are still grappling with poverty, corruption, tribalism, skyrocketing cost of living. The ideals of Jamhuri have been replaced by empty rhetorics, I think, and a broken promise, leaving many ordinary Kenyans suffocating under the punitive taxes, runaway corruption, and systemic injustice. This is the order of the day, I think. I think as we mark this Jamhuri, I think we must reflect on the fact that true independence is not just about raising the Kenyan flag. I think it is about uplifting the lives of our people, protecting our democracy, ensuring justice and fairness for all, I think. Until we dismantle the cartels and restore accountability and deliver a real economic relief, our independence still remains incomplete. I think we are not yet Uhuru. True freedom remains elusive when vast majority of Kenyans are trapped in a cycle of poverty, I think, exploited by the powerful and denied equal opportunities, as many have said in this space, I think. I think the dream of independence will remain unfulfilled until Kenyans enjoy the dignity and the rights promised at the dawn of the Republic. I think this day should not be just a day of celebration. It must be a day of reckoning, I think, as everyone said. I think we must demand a Kenya that honors sacrifices of those who have fought for our freedoms, but also put the people front, not the powerful as it is now. So, having said that, I think let these Jamhuri serve as a call to action for every Kenyan to push for the change we deserve. It is time to reclaim the spirit of the Jamhuri and realize the vision of a true freedom Kenya. Finally, before I leave it there, I have one question for Jimmy Wanjigi. I know he is not in the space, but later on, I would like this question posed to him, I think. Are you there, Eric? Eric?
Yes, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
I,
We can hear.
I have one question for Jimmy. I could not really get him on the space. I think this
Yes,
is my
I'm
question.
here. I'm here.
Yeah, okay. I have this question for Jimmy. I think Jimmy's name was often being linked to significant scandals such as Anglo leasing, questionable land acquisition, allegation of influencing major contracts like SDR. He has also been identified as a key political financier for various administrations. This is allegations. These are not facts that are there, but this is what people think. So, how does he address this long? My question to him is, how does he address these long-term standing concerns and convince Kenyans that his current political ambitions are driven by integrity, accountability, and genuine desire to serve the people, rather than maintaining the same system of corrupt system and elite control that have plagued our nation? That was the question I had also for Jimmy. Thank you so much, Eric.
Okay, thank you for your contribution. I think I had someone who wanted to say something about the state of medic interns in Kenya. So we will give him a chance. So I think, Vic, you can have your 2 minutes. Then we can proceed to the next speaker.
Yeah, thank you very much for the chance. So, first of all, I would like to speak on the state of this nation, how the government is conducting its business without considering the normal mwananchi. This a government doesn't care about the normal people on the ground. We have like in the medical field, where people right now, there are guys who are now in their 4th month without any salary. Then when that salary comes, they do the normal deduction with the total salary. They don't even do it as per every month. They do it, they take the total cash, then they do the deduction. You wonder how much those guys lose. That is why we have very many of us, very many of us are very frustrated. We are having mental conditions. People are frustrated, people are depressed, and some are even committing suicide. But the government doesn't care about it. There's no money to pay the medical interns. There's no money to pay the nurses in the hospital, but they have money to take to the churches, to lure bishops, to lure priests to come to their sides. So brothers and sisters, these are not guys to go to the table, to sit on with the table to discuss the issues of this nation, because NHIF to shift was not even done in the correct way. Then today we are being told that we have lost 104 billion and no one is even talking about it. So this government, the only language that this government listens is because if this country is going to go this way for more than 3 years, trust you, even some of the guys who have the best careers in this world are going to turn into criminals. And you are not going to turn into a criminal because you want, because you have your family members, you have your children to take care of, you have your bills to cater for, and will you cater for those bills if you don't have money and you are working? The worst part of it is that you are working, and instead even them responding, they talk as if they own this nation. We will not allow them. And the way Coyote has said, these guys, we know where they live, we know where they stay. We, like tomorrow, we know where they will be assembled to preach lies to the public. Why can't we invade there? Me personally,
Okay.
I'm very tired. I'm tired, and I'm sick and tired of this nation. I can't commit myself. I can't commit suicide, but I'll be happy if I die in the streets. I will know what I'm dying for, because we are not going to stay for this long being frustrated like this in our own nation. And we can't. If this is only 2 years, what about 3 years coming? Where are we going to be as a country? So let's think about going back to the streets. That is the only message these guys will get, and that is the only way we're going to save this nation. Because you see, right now is very scared. It's bringing everyone on board, thinking we will save this nation. Let me leave it at that, because I'm becoming more bitter as I speak. Let me leave at that point.
Okay. Thank you. So we can have BM24 Kenya. Kindly try and keep it under 2 minutes.
Yes, I'll keep under 2 minutes. My own is just only to raise the concern that I had the other day. William Ruto shamelessly telling us that he have paid his salary. You are killing our own another aspect that we should not take it easy is the killings. This is what I always said when I have a chance to speak and when I have a chance to hold. People, innocent young people. So, and then hii mambo ya kutu disrespect kila wakati when we raise a very fundamental issues, you don't want to discuss and reason with Kenyans. Not participate with William Ruto in an election because we know his character, we know his behavior, we know his plans. We will participate in 2027 election when William Ruto is out. Then now we can look for people with integrity. Lakini, we have to continue with this revolution. The only way to remove William Ruto is through revolution, no other language, no other way. Lakini tukiendelea kuwa tunasema some people are excited, some people are sponsored by William Ruto. So we want to tell those people they are part of the movement, or even if they are conflicted, akina Morara, akina Omtata, please hold your horses, come and join the movement. Let's go through revolution. Not unless you are working for this regime, then you should take side. Alafu tujue kuwa who are we dealing with. But if you are part of the movement and you really want to see change of this country, we have to realign in one side. But if you are with William Ruto, just give away so that we know who we are fighting. William Ruto kwenda saizi anafikiri anatumanipulate, sijui anataka kwenda kuleta Uhuru Kenyatta. Hata aingie katika tumbo ya Mama Ngina Kenyatta, azaliwe kama mtoto wa Mama Ngina Kenyatta. It is done and it is dusted. He can never redeem himself because we have lost confidence in him and we are holding him accountable. So I agree that, thank you, Eric, and I think now these voices today, it is a new beginning because ukiangalia, we have been having different spaces, but I think today the statement has been made and the line has been drawn that now revolution is alive and is there until we win. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. We can have Kelvin. He's been on the waiting list for a while. I don't know, Kelvin, if you're ready, you can take the stage. If not, I think Grace, you can say something as we close the space.
Okay, thank you. I only have like 3 points to talk about. First of all, I'm happy with whatever we are doing online, and this is where our voice is. So let's just keep the spirit and make our voices be heard. Personally, I believe in social media because social media does it. This is the space that made us occupy Parliament on 25th of June. So this same space can make us send you. And I want to speak to anyone that is here. I have been in.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I've been in these government offices and I can tell you for free the kind of corruption that is going on in these government offices is just uncalled for. And I can tell you, I've seen people suffering. If you go into Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it's the same thing. You find you pay money, you are again forced to pay more money. So like what is happening, and it is us to stop what is happening. Thirdly, speaking as a woman, I don't think our men are killing us. And I think this is just a government's way to remove us from the real issues that are happening in this country. And I want to give an example. I even saw in a newspaper saying that now women, I don't know, have more jobs than men, are more empowered, and we have women who are suffering. So like when we are in this course, let us focus on the same course. Let us stop this disunity among all these things that Americ's talked about, and let us focus on what we want, which is Ruto must go. Thank you. I won't talk much.
All right. Thank you very much. Of course, when you came in, for those who came later, we talked about the 4 instruments that the government uses to divide the people. And we said the first one is classism. Hustlers was dynasty. The second one we said was tribalism or racism. Black Lives Matter. Sisi Wakale, sisi wa Kikuyu, sisi wa Luya, sisi wa Jaluo. The third one is sexism. Men are killing us, femicide. And then on the other hand, women are earning more than men. Men, you are unemployed because of women. So dividing us. Then the last one is that name keeps on running away from me. Erastenianism, where the government uses religion to control the people by force. The religion doesn't want it, but the government is using it. The government claims to be more knowledgeable than the religion. That's what we have in this country. So I'm going to give this mic. It's past time, and you know I usually keep time, but I'm just going to give this mic to Daniel, and then after Daniel, Edgar, and then Cyprian, and then we call it a day. There's some lady who insulted Gaido, calling him a cholesterol merchant. You see, cholesterol is a very important lipid in the body. I think I've written about this. Very, very important. 80% of your brain is insulated in cholesterol. Huh? Hey, Wacheni Kutukana Gaido, I'm working on him. He is going to be good very soon. Daniel. Daniel doesn't want to speak. Edgar. Edgar. Edgar.
Street and demand for their rights. But at least everyone here has a chance to make this government unpopular. You have a chance. Your granddaughters, your grandparents, your sisters, huko nyumbani, tell them what is happening. Everyone should understand. Kukuwe na hiyo, kukuwe wote at par. Everyone should have ile, tukuwe na ile, this government is a no.
All right.
We should focus on, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Eric.